Gabby Petito never goes outside.
Hello friends, how are you guys today? I hope you guys are all having an amazing day so far. If you are not having an amazing day, I really hope that your day gets better from here on out. So I want to start this video off like every other video on this channel and say thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you enjoy this video, but if you don't enjoy it, I really hope that you at least give this video a chance. But if you guys are returning to my channel, thank you guys so much for returning to my channel. I really appreciate it, and it really means so much to me. So today I want to switch gears a little bit from our coverage of the R. Kelly trial, and in this video I want to talk about the Gabby Petito case. Now this case is one of the largest and most televised missing persons cases in a long time. And Gabby Petito is a 22-year-old woman who was embarking on a cross-country trip with her 23-year-old boyfriend slash fiance, and something went horribly wrong. He came home without her, and no one has been able to find her. Now, I have been invested in this case like everyone else, and I have been doing a lot of research on this case and like just trying to find something and to help. And unfortunately on September 19th a body was found, and the FBI does believe that it is Gabby Petito.
Human remains were discovered consistent with the description of Gabrielle Gabby Petito. Full forensic identification has not been completed to confirm 100% that we found Gabby, but her family has been notified of this discovery.
My heart just absolutely broke when they found this body, and it really hit me hard. I was really hoping and praying for Gabby, and my heart just breaks for her. So there's a lot of things in this case that are just odd and not fitting right, and I have a lot of questions, and I wanted to just go and talk about this case with you guys and see what you guys think, and go through the timeline a little bit. So let's go ahead and talk about it, and let's just get started. Okay, so Gabrielle Gabby Petito is a 22-year-old woman. She is from New York, and she lived in Northport, Florida with her 23-year-old boyfriend slash fiance, Brian Laundrie. Now, Gabby was 5'5", she had blonde hair, blue eyes, she was about 110 pounds. She liked art and yoga, she was a nutritionist, and she wanted to become a travel vlogger and a travel YouTuber. She has Let It Be tattooed on her forearm right here, and she has been described as just a beautiful person and having a beautiful personality and really just lighting up the room when she walks in. Her and Brian have been together for a little over 2 years now, and they lived with Brian's parents in Northport, Florida, but Brian and Gabby were actually both from New York. So like I said earlier, Gabby and Brian were planning on taking this cross-country trip and documenting their entire trip and all of their travels for their travel vlog, and that is what she wanted to do. And like that was this big thing that she loved to do. She loves to travel. Her and Brian have actually taken several trips before, and she loves the outdoors. She loves to hike and things like that. So they were gonna embark on this cross-country trip and film it all for their vlog and document their travels for their Instagram and everything like that. So Gabby got a 2012 white Ford Transit van, and her and Brian modified this van into like a camper in the back. So on July 2nd, 2020, Brian proposed to Gabby and she accepted his proposal. This is her post about that on her Instagram. Now the next day, on July 3rd, 2020, Brian posted on his Instagram about Gabby accepting his proposal and how happy he was about it. So exactly 1 year ago from July 2nd, 2020, so on July 2nd of this year, Gabby and Brian embarked on their cross-country trip. Now, I'm sure it was not just a fluke that they picked this day to start their trip. It was their 1 year anniversary from getting engaged, and this is the day they started their trip. So, they actually they started their trip from Blue Point in Suffolk County in Long Island, New York. Now, Brian and Gabby were actually in Long Island, New York because they were visiting Gabby's parents and they were actually celebrating her little brother's high school graduation out there. On July 4th, they were on the road, and this is when they made their first stop at Monument Rocks, Kansas, and they took this picture. They have a couple more pictures here, and then there was something that I thought was very intriguing, and that is this comment right here. Kasser John said, so started out Long Island, New York on July 2nd, drove 1,600 plus miles across the country nonstop with tolls, 10 road construction sites on I-70, large cities like St. Louis, etc. And this is the first post of the trip. It seems odd. Now, when I read that comment, it really got my attention because I was thinking, wow, this guy is completely right. I mean, they're supposed to be vlogging and documenting their travels along this whole cross-country road trip, and they drove non-stop from New York to Kansas, 1,600 miles with tolls and 10 construction sites on I-70, and they made it there in 2 days, and they passed all these other big cities, and they didn't take any pictures. So it does seem kind of odd to me, but when I really thought about it and I look at all the places that they did stop, they all seem to be like national parks and stuff. So maybe she's not too interested, or maybe they're not too interested in stopping at like huge cities, and their main focus was like national parks and hiking and stuff like that. But still, I mean, there are national parks between there, so, or maybe they're going across the country, but their main destination is like Colorado, Utah, and all those places. But I mean, I'm not sure, we're not sure, but I do think that it is odd. Now on July 8th, they made it to Colorado Springs, and Gabby posted this picture right here on her Instagram. Now on July 10th, they made it to the Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve in Colorado. And they posted this right here, this post on her Instagram as well. So they went to 2 places in Colorado from July 8th to July 10th. Now on July 16th, 6 days later, they made it to Zion National Park in Utah. After that, on July 21st, they made it to Bryce Canyon National Park in Utah. And then July 26th is when they made it to Mystic Hot Springs in Monroe, Utah. And she posted these couple of pictures right here. Nothing really out of the ordinary so far. On July 30th, they were at the Canyonlands National Park in Utah. So several places in Utah. That's why I'm thinking, well, maybe their plan was to get to this area and then do all of their vlogs and stuff, possibly, because they seem to stop at a lot of places in Utah. I mean, I don't know, maybe. So after they get to Canyonlands National Park on July 30th, with these pictures right here, 12 days go by with no posts from Gabby or Brian at all. And the next post from Gabby is on August 12th at Arches National Park in Utah as well. Now these pictures are what she posted. It seems like they're having a great day, but unfortunately something went terribly wrong and they were not having a great day, because after this a 911 call came in to the police.
We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
Okay, you said it's a white van?
So after this 911 call, the police tried to catch up with Brian and Gabby, and they did catch up with them in Moha, Utah, and they pulled them over. So let's take a look at some of that body cam footage when they pulled them over.
What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got just out supplies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving, I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm going to go ahead and close your door, okay? I'm just come over here. SO229, I have the female that was on the passenger seat separated from the male. Keys are on the hood. You want to tell me what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, some days I have really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him, I just like, I guess my vibe is like, I hear him be like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I used to work at an organic juice bar, but I just quit my job.
Okay.
I was a nutritionist. That's what
okay.
that was my
That's
job.
cool.
And I just quit my job to travel across the country, and I'm trying to start a blog. I just have a blog and stuff. So I've been building my website. So I've just been really stressed, and he doesn't really believe that I could do any of it. So that's kind of been like a, I don't know. He's like down there. I don't know. We've just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because of your OCD?
Told me I need to calm down. Yeah. But I'm perfectly calm. I'm calm all the time. And he really stresses me out. And this is a rough morning.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I sit you down in the back seat of my car? You're not in any trouble, okay? I'm not going to be putting handcuffs on you. You obviously don't have any weapons. I'm gonna get you into the air conditioning, let you take a breath, relax a little bit, and then I'll come back and talk to you in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. Like I said, you're not in any trouble. So just go ahead and take a seat.
Okay, this is really upsetting to me. Gabby has this dream of wanting to be a travel vlogger, and she said that Brian didn't believe in her and didn't think that she could do it, and that just absolutely breaks my heart. I actually had a boyfriend who also did not believe in me, and he did not believe in my dreams, and he told me to give up my dreams and grow up. My dreams of being a YouTuber and making and creating content, and he told me to grow up, and he didn't believe in me. And so when Gabby said that, it definitely hit home for me, and I knew exactly how she felt in that moment. But let's continue to the next part of the body cam footage.
What's that?
You talked to Gabby already?
Yeah, I just spoke to her.
Yeah.
So, you want to do me a favor? Let's go ahead and get you to step out of the vehicle, alrighty?
Now, real quick, I want to interject here. Is it just me, or does Brian look exceptionally nervous right here? Did you hear him? He said, "Have you talked to Gabby? Have you talked to Gabby yet?" And he just looks super nervous to me, like he was really afraid of what she would tell them. Let's watch it again real quick and watch his face.
What's that?
You talked to Gabby already?
Yeah, I just spoke to her.
Yeah.
So, you want to do me a favor? Let's go ahead and get you to step out of the vehicle, alrighty?
That just seems very, very odd to me. Like, he's definitely nervous about something. I can definitely feel that off of his energy. But let's continue.
What's going on?
She just gets worked up sometimes, and I try and really distance myself from her. So like I locked the car and I walked away from her. What happened this morning is that she's trying to start up like her own little website blog and everything. So I give her time. And we really had a nice morning, if anything. But she just got worked up because we were trying to get going and get our day going because we want to go like arches for this stuff.
Okay. You want to tell me about those scratches on your face?
She had her cell phone in her hand. That's why I was pushing her away, because she wanted me. I locked the keys so I could walk away. I said, let's just take a breather and let's not, go anywhere. Let's just calm down for a minute. She was getting a little worked up, and then she had her phone and was trying to get the keys from me. So I got away. I was just trying to. I know I shouldn't push, but I was just trying to push her away to go. Let's just take a minute, step back, and breathe. And she got me with her phone.
Can I see your hand? Oh, you got a mark right here.
Oh, that's from a wire.
That's from a wire?
Yeah.
You want to tell me about hitting that curb?
Hitting the curb was her grabbing the wheel.
She grabbed the wheel?
Yeah. She said, I can't believe we're getting pulled over, and then she grabbed the wheel.
What about the speed? Did she take over the... Did she take over the pedal on you?
If I was going fast, I'm sorry. No, it's probably just the moment of like, I'm still shaking now. The adrenaline, seeing the lights flashing up, and then her gripping the wheel. So if I sped up, I'm sorry about that. Or if I was speeding beforehand, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it took quite a bit to catch up to you. So, yeah.
I'm sorry about that. We're just going into the park again to get water because we have a 6-gallon water container to fill up. So we're just grabbing water to fill the hike. Okay. And I was trying to keep everything calm and quiet because they're planning still to go for a hike. But then she grabbed sorry about that.
Of course. Do me a favor. You want to go ahead and just take a seat right over here on the curb for me?
If I was speeding, I'm sorry.
You don't have anything in my pocket or anything like that, do you?
So that is Brian's story, which does not at all coincide with the 911 call. So I'm curious, like, did they not hear? I mean, did the dispatcher not tell them what the caller said on the 911 call? I'm not sure.
I don't think or anything. I was yelling at him, and then when you turned your lights on, I kind of punched his arm like there's no.
So she's saying like hit the curb. You said it was Gabby?
You said you were hitting him in the arm. Did you grab the steering wheel?
No, I didn't.
You did not touch the steering wheel?
But only for like a second, because I just saw the lights come on, and it was more just like, you're an idiot. Like,
But did you grab the steering wheel and like swerve or anything like that?
No. I didn't touch the steering wheel at all.
I'm gonna go ahead and close this door again. Do you have enough air back here, or do you want me to kick it up some more?
Do you have any water?
I will see if I can find some.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
So I don't know if you guys caught that, but Brian told the cops that Gabby actually pulled the steering wheel because when the cops pulled them over, they were going like 45 and a 15, and when he pulled them over, Brian actually hit and went up on the curb. And he asked Brian about that, and Brian said that Gabby pulled the steering wheel when they were getting pulled over, and that is why he hit the curb. But if you see the video of Gabby, she said that she absolutely did not touch the steering wheel. So why would he lie? I mean, the cops said later on that maybe Brian didn't want Gabby to get in trouble for hitting him, so he said that she pulled the steering wheel instead of she hit my arm, so he was trying to like protect her. But I don't know, it's just something, like usually in cases like this when somebody is missing, if they lie about something small, it makes me think, what else could they be lying about? Why lie about something insignificant like that? What else is there, you know?
There's a few little things, just little relationships. I don't know if you're in a relationship, I'm sure.
I've been married for over 5 years now. So.
There's a lot of little things.
Yeah, I can go.
And
I get it.
We weren't physical before the point where I said, all right, let's just take a breather and like walk away for a minute. I'll lock the van up and I'll go for a walk this way, and you can go walk that way in the block. You know, there's that what is it called, Moonflower? Right, yeah. You know, nice areas. You can go either way. It's all shaded. So let's go for a little walk and breathe and come back. Because we're happy with it. I'm not upset with her. She got worked up and she had a phone in her hand and her keys and everything. She wanted, not her keys, her rings. She had her rings, her phone. And I was holding on to the keys because I didn't want to go anywhere. And my big fear is, I don't have my phone. I don't have a phone. So she goes off without me. But I'm on my own. So I was saying, let's just go for a walk, and she was trying to get the keys for me, so I was just going, just wait, back up, and that's when she hit me, and I didn't get, I don't want to push you, but I didn't get overtly physical. I was just trying to keep her away and not get hit, and then I got really loud, and like that's probably whoever's attention where I was going, back up, get away, just give me a...
Okay, so you said you pushed her to create some distance, obviously, right? What happened after that? What got the scratches on your eye?
The phone.
So you pushed her and she hit you?
It wasn't like a push and she jumped on me. She was already, I don't know, she was already swinging, and I was a lot of angles, a lot of nails, a lot of rings.
Yeah, you got 3 scratches in your neck. You got 1 on the left side of your neck. You got 1 in your face here, and you got 4 bleeding over there. So it's like 2 minutes.
Do you mind lifting up your right sleeve for me? I'm curious about something.
I suppose fingernails, but I'm not complaining.
Is it bruised or tender or anything like that?
No. Okay. I'm fine, and I love Gabby. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me. I'm just, I feel bad I think it's so public. I was just trying to be loud to listen. This is, try to make her calm down and be like, look, everyone's watching. I'm like, stop this.
Thanks,
Now, honestly, I feel like Brian is lying. I can't explain it. I don't have any proof of this. It's just my opinion. But just the energy that is coming off of him, I feel like he is very, very nervous and that he is lying. Now, the cops even asked him in this video as well. If you guys want to watch the entire body cam footage, I will link it down below. It's about 1 hour and 17 minutes long, I think. But the cops even ask Brian if he is on any kind of medication, and they're like, well, are you always really hyper like this? And of course he said that he was just really nervous with his adrenaline with the, getting pulled over and when the lights come on. I mean, maybe, yeah, he's just nervous, but I just feel like, he's lying here. But let's go ahead and continue.
You have admitted striking her. She has not admitted you striking her. The witness did not see you strike her. So at this point, you're the victim of domestic assault. That even if you didn't want to pursue this, you don't have a choice.
Now, Brian getting extremely giddy right here when the cop tells him that he is a victim of domestic violence. It just seems to me Like, he was really worried about what Gabby would say when she talked to the cops, and when she didn't say that he hit her, and she kind of took the blame and said that she hit him, but she never said that he hit her. It just looks like when the cops, like, explain the situation, and he like realizes that he got away with it, and that, you know, he's not going to be in any trouble. It's like you can almost see like this weight being lifted off of him, and he's like just can't help himself but to laugh and be extremely giddy that, you know, he's not in trouble here. That's just what I'm picking up off of it, but that's just one person's opinion. I really would love to know what you guys think about this, what you get with Brian's like body language and his energy, or do you think that he's lying? Like, what do you get off of the way he's acting?
Somewhere she can stay. Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can go to jail. You can't, because you don't have a charge for you. Now tomorrow, if you wanted to, you could get with her again tomorrow.
I'm gonna take your radio.
If you want to be with her again tomorrow, because it's after 5.
This just doesn't sit right with me, you guys. I don't know. It's like he wants to try and protect her. He doesn't want her to go to jail, so he wants to try and protect her. I understand. But I think maybe in his head, he's like, oh shit, she might go to jail because I told on her and I told them that she hit me, but she didn't tell on me and she didn't tell them that I hit her. So I'm kind of the asshole here, just letting her take all the blame. So he wanted to like kind of try and fix the situation, but he was too deep in. He couldn't tell him now that he hit her, and he didn't want to get in trouble. So he's, you know, being a coward, but he doesn't want to change his story, but he wants to try and help her a little bit. So he's like, oh, well, I'll take your radio. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. And of course, that is not what happened. That is just my opinion. That is what I'm kind of picking up off of the situation. What do you guys think? I'm very curious to hear what other people think about this.
I've decided I am not going to cite you for domestic violence battery, okay? It was only going to be a Class B misdemeanor. However, the domestic violence portion of it enhances it. Makes life a major pain in the butt, especially you're 22, right? So I'm choosing not to cite you today. So you are not going to be charged with anything. Alright? But this is what I do have to do. I am separating the two of you tonight. Okay? I want you guys both to be tonight away from each other, relax, breathe, crying, because there's no reason to be crying now, okay? This is, I understand that this can feel like it's a nightmare, but you're coming out as the golden flower on top of it, okay? So, you're going to be taking the van tonight, and you're going to go somewhere else. I am going to get him lined up to the hotel room tonight. I want you guys to stay away from each other. For both of you guys' sake. From what you told me and what he told me, you guys have a bunch of little things that are building up, and finally the little string that you guys were tight walking on broke tonight. Does that sound about right?
Poor Gabby, you guys. She just looks so distraught, and she's crying. She's very clearly super upset, and my heart just breaks for her. But on the other hand, over here, we have Mr. Smiley McSmiles, and he's just laughing and chuckling and having a good old time with the cops. Like, I don't know, you guys. It just doesn't feel right to me. But I do want to say that this cop is so sweet. I have heard so much about bad cops out there and police brutality and all that kind of stuff. And I just love seeing good cops out there. And I don't know. I love seeing good cops out there. So I did want to point that out. This cop seems very, very sweet. But it also begs the question. I am still thinking about that. Did the cops not hear the 911 call? Did the dispatcher not tell the cops what the 911 caller said? Because he even said when he was explaining to Brian, you know, she admitted to hitting you. You said she hit you. She didn't say you hit her. You didn't say you hit her. And the witness didn't see you hit her. And I'm like, wait a minute, the witness So that makes me think they actually didn't talk to the witness. They didn't hear what he said. They just was told it's a domestic dispute. Here's the license plate number. Here's where they are. Go pull them over. And they went and pulled him over, and they got the stories. And because their stories matched, they just believed that she was the aggressor and he didn't do anything. But did they not? I mean, does dispatcher not tell them, like, what the caller said? I'm very curious about that. So on August 13th, one day after the domestic dispute, Brian posts pictures from Arches National Park on his Instagram. And then we have nothing for 6 days from either of them. And then on August 19th, Gabby posts on her Instagram, but it's unclear where she is at. It doesn't say where she is at. This is also the same day when she posts her very first and only YouTube video on her YouTube channel that she made. So on August 24th, Gabby talked to her mother via FaceTime. So her mom on August 24th got to talk to Gabby. She got to see her face, hear her voice. And then on August 25th, Gabby spoke to her mother again by phone call. So her mom got to speak to Gabby over the phone on August 25th, and of course it was Gabby. She did talk to her on the phone, and Gabby told her mom that they were actually on their way to the Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. Gabby also posted her very last Instagram post on this day, August 25th, and it is in front of a mural outside of the Monarch, which is a venue outside of Ogden, Utah, and that's north of Salt Lake City. So this is Gabby's very last Instagram post, and it is on August 25th, and that is also the last day her mother spoke to her, or anyone besides Brian spoke to her. On August 26th, a guy said that he had a very weird encounter with Brian Laundrie at a bar, and Brian was alone. So let's hear what this guy has to say.
In regards to the Brian Laundrie and Gabby, the missing girl, I had taken a trip the end of August from Louisiana up through Colorado and Montana and Wyoming. I picked a friend up at the Jackson Hole Airport on August 26th, Thursday, that morning, and we went through Jackson Hole. Then we went through the Tetons and Yellowstone. We came out the West Gate, and we stayed at West Yellowstone, Montana for the evening. We went out to a restaurant that night called Bullwinkle's, and about 10 o'clock we moved into the bar. There was us and another couple that we had met while we were eating dinner. We were discussing things, politics, guns, hunting, all the stuff you don't talk about in a bar. And there was a guy at the end of the bar that was just quiet. He was visibly bothered or mad, it looked like, when we came in. And I guess our conversation just kind of irritated that fact. When he finally made a comment, something about stupid Southerners and Republicans. And I kind of laughed and said, well, where are you from? And he said that he was from New York in a pretty strong New York accent, and said his name was Brian. And I said, as we laughed, I said, well, you picked an odd place, the middle of nowhere, a small town in Montana. What did you expect, that you weren't going to run into any conservatives or Republicans? Anyway, not much else was said. He made a couple of remarks, and we went back to our conversation. It was just a creepy encounter. It was one of those situations where it was kind of one of those people, it was almost like he looked through you. I didn't notice him using a phone, things that the FBI have asked. We did notice that he had a backpack. We left about 11:50, and he was still there. My friend was visibly uncomfortable. She even made a comment on the way to the car about serial killers and kept watching behind us to make sure he wasn't following us. And I assured her that it wasn't an issue. I mean, I'm concealed carry. I was actually armed when we were in the bar. And we went to the hotel. We did talk about it on the way home. It was odd. In the last few days, though, we've watched the news and realized that was the guy. That was Brian this girl's fiance. So we contacted the FBI. Both of us made reports to the FBI, and just kind of watching the news now and seeing where it goes. But that was our encounter.
Now that is very weird. Why is Brian alone in a bar? But I mean, a lot of people can say, well, maybe they just got in a fight again and he, you know, left and went to a bar by himself to have a few drinks and, you know, whatever. And of course, the guy said that Brian was visibly mad. So, and he was kind of being a turd and like picking fights, kind of. So, like, Brian was at a bar, he was visibly mad. So, you know, of course, anyone could say that, well, maybe they got in a fight again and he just left and went to a bar by himself. But on August 27th, the YouTubers Red, White, and Bethune found Gabby's van in Teton County, Wyoming around 6 p.m.
Coming up on it, we're approaching it up here on the left-hand side. This is most definitely Gabby Petito's Ford Transit van. It's kind of wild, like it's sane a little bit, because we drove past, we actually weren't able to find any sites, and we ended up driving back through, saw it again, but here it is on the left. So.
And I slowed it down so you can possibly see it a little bit better.
Now there's also another YouTuber named Nerve Gorilla, and he says that this is his video, so I'm assuming that he is the guy who was driving the van. Now he posts this video again, and he shows that it is his file on his computer, and he shows a slow motion and a zoomed in of this video. And when he does this, you can see that the back door of the van is open and then it closes right in front of the camera. Now, I heard people saying that the door was open, then it closed, and I watched the video so many times and I didn't see anything. But when this guy zooms it in and slows it down, you definitely can see that the door was open and then it closed. And you can also see that there's 2 flip-flops on the ground behind the van. And at first, a lot of people thought they were just seeing 1 flip-flop. But again, when you zoom in and slow it down, you can see that there are 2. So this is his video that he posted of the same video, but he slowed it down and zoomed it in for us.
The MadVR renderer. So you can see right here in the direct center of the screen, that is the back of the van. You'll see it's black in the center right there. Now I'm going to slow it down and let it play just kind of slowly. You'll see as we round the corner, you'll still see a black line right in the center there. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit more. There, okay. There's a black sliver right in this back of that van. You would think it's a tree, right? Well, we'll see in a second here. So you're going to start seeing it close here in a second. Watch. It's going to start closing. Watch very carefully. Right in the center of the screen right now. There it goes. It's starting to close. Boom. Closed. Okay? Did you get that? Let me rewind just one more time. Not as slow. You're going to see it and closed. Now, if you think it's a tree, I'll just let it play a little bit here and you'll see that's not actually a tree. You'll see there's no tree in the center. There's a tree to the left and a couple trees to the right there. But that was definitely open. Absolutely open. Now, that's really hard to see if you're just watching it like this. It's almost impossible. You basically have to zoom in. Now, about the sandals. All right, let me zoom in on the sandals so you can see them. Some people were asking about the sandals. And right at the back, you can see right there, right at the base of that ladder, you'll see there are definitely 2 sandals there. I'll rewind it and play it in slow motion just so you can see. Yep, there's definitely 2 sandals there, okay?
So you can definitely see that the van door was open and it closed. And then there's flip-flops outside on the ground. And I remember in the body cam footage, he was wearing flip-flops that looks just like that.
Oh, do you have your ID on you?
So I mean, was that Brian? Was that Brian that, like, was in the van? And why was the van parked like that? Like, completely, it's like it was trying to be hidden, parked behind trees and stuff right there. I don't know, it's just very curious to me. Now, 2 days later, a TikToker said that she gave Brian Laundrie a ride, and he was hitchhiking. She gave him a ride, and she said he was alone. Here's her video.
Hi, my name is Miranda Baker, and on August 29th, my boyfriend and I picked up Brian at Grand Teton National Park at 5:30 at night at Coulter Bay. I'm hoping this can help someone identify him because I saw him from TikTok, which then made me call the authorities, and my boyfriend and I have been in contact with a bunch of different people to help piece together different parts of this case. But we picked him up at Coulter Bay, like I said, at 5:30. He approached us asking us for a ride because he needed to go to Jackson, which we were going to Jackson that night. So I said, hop in. He hopped in the back of my Jeep. We then, proceeded to make small talk. But before he came in the car, he offered to pay us like $200 to give him a ride, like 10 miles. So that was kind of weird. He then told us he's been camping for multiple days without his fiancé. He did say he had a fiancé, and that she was working on their social media page back at their van. Then once, like, in conversation I brought up, we're going to Jackson. He freaked out. He's like, nope, I need to get out right now. Pull over. So we pulled over at the Jackson Dam, which I don't know if you know, like, Teton Park, but it's not very far from Coulter Bay. And if this does, reach people, I can post pictures of, exactly where we were. We picked him up and the whole route or whatever, and screenshots of the timestamps. We dropped him off at 6:09 p.m. on August 29th. He kind of hurried out of the car, and then he's like, okay, I'm just gonna go find someone else to, hitchhike. And we're like, okay. It was a weird situation. So when we picked him up, he was wearing a backpack, he had a long sleeve pants, hiking boots, and he had scruff, but he didn't look dirty. For someone who was camping for multiple days, he didn't look dirty, he didn't smell dirty, so that part was kind of weird. And I'm just really hoping that they find her, and this helps someone remember seeing him, or something like that. To clarify a few things that people are confused on still, when he asked for a ride, he has to go to Jackson, which, if you're familiar with this area, a lot of people call Jackson Hole Jackson. So that's why I said yes to giving him a ride. But you think any good hiker would know south and north. We were going south out of the park. When he said he was camping north, he had told us that him and Gabby were not camping on a regulated campsite through the national park, that they were camping basically out in the middle of nowhere along Snake River. This is key information. He said that he had hiked for days along Snake River, but when looking at his backpack, it wasn't full, and he said all he had was a tarp to sleep on, which you think if you're going camping for days on end, you'd want food and a tent, and he had none of that. And like I said, he looked clean and didn't smell bad. So this is a view of the whole journey with Brian. So that's the top at the park at Coulter Bay, and then we drove him to this dam right here. Then at the dam, we dropped him off at this little turnout, and he said he was going to walk across the street to the parking lot, which was full of people, to continue hitchhiking and look for a ride, because he freaked out when I said Jackson Hole. He said we needed to pull over, even though Jackson and Jackson Hole are the same thing. It's the same town itself. This is the text I sent to my mom at 6:09, right when he got out of the car, saying I was okay because she was freaking out. This is at the park, or at the pickup location, and we were taking a shower. We then walked across, and our car was parked on the left side of the picture, and he talked to us right in the middle. And he was talking to my boyfriend the entire time, but I was the one actually talking, and he was not frantic, and he was very nice, very polite to us.
Now on August 30th, Gabby's mother receives a weird text from her phone, and the text message says, no service in Yosemite, which of course her mother says that she does not think that that text message came from Gabby at all. It came from her phone, but she doesn't think it was Gabby. And if you look at Yosemite, it is 823 miles away from where they were in Wyoming. Now, that's a 13-hour drive. So, I mean, yeah, okay, that's fine. But the TikToker said she gave him a ride on August 29th in Wyoming. And so he would have had to have driven 823 miles in one day. Or they would have had to have driven 823 miles in one day. And that's a 13-hour drive. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think so. And it is because September 1st, one day after this, Brian returns home in Northport, Florida with Gabby's van without Gabby. Now, if they were in Wyoming, that would have been a 2,300-mile trip for Brian to drive in those 2 days, because the TikToker said she saw him on August 29th and he got home on September 1st. So that would be 2,300 miles to drive in 2 days. That's a 36-hour drive, so that's totally possible. But if they were in Yosemite, California, then that, driving from there, would have been 2,743 miles. And her mom got the text on August 30th. So he would have, if they were really in Yosemite, California, he would have had to have driven a 41-hour drive in one day, which is not possible. So I don't think that that text came from Brian, and I don't think they ever went or made it to California. But he definitely could have driven the 36-hour drive in 2 days from August 29th to September 1st from Wyoming to Florida. So that's kind of what I was thinking when I did all the mileage and stuff. My question is, why was Brian hitchhiking, then came back home with Gabby's van? So why is he hitchhiking on the 29th, but then he has her van without her on the 1st? Like, did he leave her and hitchhike? Like, did they get in a fight and she left him or took the van, or he went for a walk and decided to hitchhike and thought he was going to hitchhike home and then changed his mind and decided to go back? I mean, is that what happened? Or did he already have allegedly possibly taken her life and then decided to leave the van there and was thinking of how he'd get home and then changed his mind and decided to go back and get the van and drive it home? I mean, I don't know. Or a different thing, I mean, just throwing out like ideas here. Or let's say that Brian is completely innocent. Let's just say for a second that he is completely innocent. Why would he be doing what he's doing? And then I thought, well, maybe, let's say someone else hurt Gabby, and Brian either escaped or they allowed him to escape. They, he, who, she, I don't know, allowed him to escape, but told him that, you know, they know his family, they know where he lives, they'll hurt his family if he tells, or if he helps the police or anything. So he decides to leave or run and then come back and get her van, or maybe it happens later and so he just leaves with the van and that's why he's not talking to the cops. I mean, just given, I don't think that's what happened, but I mean, just throwing out like reasons why. That's the only reason I could think of as to why Brian would not talk to the police. So Again, on September 1st, Brian arrives home in Northport, Florida, with Gabby's van without Gabby. So her parents live in Long Island, New York, and they've been trying to get a hold of Gabby. They can't get a hold of Gabby, so they started trying to get a hold of Brian, and they can't get a hold of Brian. Brian is not talking to them, so they decided by September 11th that they were going to report Gabby missing. So on September 11th, they reported Gabby as a missing person. Now, when they reported Gabby as a missing person, the cops showed up at Brian's house to talk to him, to ask him when he last saw her, where he last saw her, where does he think she might be, like anything like that. So they showed up at Brian's house to talk to him, and there was a lawyer at Brian's house waiting for the cops, and the lawyer was waiting for the cops, and he spoke to the cops for Brian and told them that Brian would not be saying anything. He was pleading the fifth. He was not going to say a word. So on September 15th, 4 days later, the police officially list Brian as a person of interest. And also on this day, Gabby's parents beg for Brian to say something, at least tell them where they could look for Gabby. They even wrote Brian's parents a letter begging for help.
I have a letter that they want to send to Christopher and Rebecca Laundrie, and I'm going to read it at this time, and then I'll take limited questions. Christopher and Rebecca Laundrie, we are writing this letter to ask you to help find our daughter. We understand you are going through a difficult time, and your instinct is strong to protect your son. We ask you to put yourselves in our shoes. We haven't been able to sleep or eat, and our lives are falling apart. We believe you know the location of where Brian left Gabby. We beg you to tell us. As a parent, how could you let us go through this pain and not help us? As a parent, how could you put Gabby's younger brothers and sisters through this? Gabby lived with you for over a year. She's going to be your daughter-in-law. How can you keep her location hidden? You were both at Jim and Nicole's house. You were both so happy that Brian and Gabby got engaged. Please, if you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. Tell us if we are even looking in the right place. All we want is for Gabby to come home. Please help us make that happen.
That is just completely heartbreaking, especially as a mother. I could not imagine how another parent feels if their child was missing, and I would not be able to just stay silent, especially if I could help in any way. I mean, everybody says that, you know, if you're a parent, you do anything to protect your kids, but even if you protected your kid in a situation like this, if he did something horrible like that, then what's next? I mean, what would be next for him? It doesn't get better after they do something like that. Anyway, on September 16th, Brian's sister speaks to Good Morning America.
Obviously, me and my family want Gabby to be found safe. She's like a sister, and my children love her, and all I want is for her to come home safe and sound, and this to be just a big misunderstanding.
So on September 17th, Brian's family calls the police and reports him missing. They claim that they last saw him on Tuesday. Now, September 17th was last Friday, so it was on a Friday, and they claim that they have not seen him since Tuesday. And they said that last time they saw Brian on Tuesday, he told them that he was going to the county park and he left. Now, he didn't come home, so on Wednesday, Brian's attorney went to the county park to look for him, and they discovered his Ford Mustang at that park. So they said that they did not drive it home on Wednesday. They said that they decided to drive his car back to his home on Thursday morning. But Eyewitness News can confirm that Brian's car was brought back to his house on Wednesday, not Thursday. So that is just so weird to me. Why would his family lie about when they brought the car home? And why would they make it for a day later? It's kind of weird. I mean, I'm sure if your child is missing, you're not going to just get that wrong. Like, yeah, we went looking for him the next day and we brought his car home. Or no, we went looking for him the next day and then we brought his car home the day after. Like, how would you get that wrong? I don't know. Why are they lying about that? But the next day, on September 18th, there was a search for Brian at the 25,000 acre county park called the Carlton Reserve, which is a little bit north of Brian's home. He was not found. They are actually still searching for him as of now. I think if he is not there, this was a good way for his family to throw the cops off of his scent a little bit. Like, tell them that he went to this huge park and reserve and we haven't seen him since, and his car was there but we can't find him. So the cops will automatically be like, okay, we're gonna look for him there. Meanwhile, Mr. Smiley McSmiles could be getting the hell out of Dodge while the cops are over here looking for him over here. And honestly, he probably got out of Dodge on Tuesday, and the family could be just helping him get a bigger and bigger head start by acting like he disappeared over here and he isn't over there. And they're keeping the cops looking for him while he gets like this big head start. I mean, of course, these are just my thoughts, but it sounds really plausible to me. It could have happened. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, either that, or he did go to this park and he decided to take the coward's way out and the cops are eventually going to find his body somewhere. I mean, I don't know. I would think it was one or the other. Anyway, on September 18th, while they were looking for Brian Laundrie down in Florida, the FBI, local law enforcement, and National Park Reserve was searching for Gabby at the Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. So they had dual searches going on at the same time. They started looking right around where the YouTubers saw Gabby's van. Unfortunately, on September 19th, a body was found very close to where the YouTubers saw Gabby's van. The cops said that the description of the body looks like it could be Gabby, but the family has not identified her body yet, and forensics has not identified her body yet either. But the FBI seems to be pretty certain that the body they found is indeed Gabby, because they even offered their condolences to Gabby's family.
Human remains were discovered, consistent with the description of Gabby Petito. Full forensic identification has not been completed to confirm 100% that we found Gabby, but her family has been notified of this discovery.
So, I mean, they didn't identify the body technically, but they seem to, think that it is her. And they even offered their condolences to her family. So, very, very sadly, Gabby's body was found on September 19th in the Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. I mean, of course, there's always a chance it's not her body, but it seems like they're pretty certain that it is, and that is just so sad and such a horrible, heartbreaking end to the search for Gabby Petito. And it's just, it's so awful. It's so awful, you guys.
confirming the body found in Grand Teton National Park is Gabby Petito, and she was killed. Her death now ruled a homicide. This comes as the search remains ongoing for Gabby's fiancé, Brian Laundrie.
But another weird thing that I wanted to talk about before I end this video is that Gabby's Instagram was actually deactivated. Her parents then begged on the news for Instagram to reactivate her Instagram, saying that it had memories on there and it had possible clues on there about where her whereabouts may be, and Instagram did reactivate her account. Now, a lot of people in the comments section of her posts are saying that all the captions were changed around the last time Gabby's mother spoke to her. So why would all of her captions on all of her posts from when they started this adventure, why would somebody go through her Instagram and change all of the captions on all of her posts and then decide to just deactivate her account? Also, if the text that Gabby's mother got on August 30th was not Gabby, then it was probably Brian. Who else would it be? And if Brian had her phone and could text her mother, then he could get in her Instagram and change the captions of her posts and deactivate her Instagram account if he wanted to. I mean, he either had her phone or her password to her Instagram, or probably both. But why would Brian do this if he was innocent? And of course, if he says it wasn't him, why would somebody else do this? Like, let's just say again for a second that Brian is innocent in all this and it was somebody else that did something horrible to Gabby. Why would they take her phone and change all the captions on her Instagram posts and then decide to deactivate her Instagram and then decide to text her mother with some fake story about a different national park? Like, how would those people, some strangers, know that they were doing national parks unless, of course, they went through her Instagram? But then again, why would they do that? I don't know. It doesn't seem plausible to me that someone else would do this. It seems like Brian did it to me. It seems like Brian is the one who sent the text. He's the one who changed her captions and tried to deactivate her Instagram. And to be honest, with him not talking and now he's missing, he looks guilty as hell. And I mean, I understand in this country there's due process and you're innocent until proven guilty, but he looks super guilty. I can't think of one reason besides the one I said earlier. I can't think of any other reason, and even that is far-fetched. I can't think of any reason why you would return home with her van and not her, and then not tell anybody where she is, not speak to the police, and to go out and immediately get an attorney and plead the fifth. Like, and was Brian smart enough for that? Or was that his parents' idea? Maybe. I don't know. There's so many questions. I have so many questions, and I will be continuing to stay on this case and see what happens, and I will keep you guys updated as well. So that is everything, you guys. Definitely let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions down below. I'm very interested in hearing what everybody else thinks about all of the theories that I've had and the timeline and all of the weird stuff. Just let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. And if you guys found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It will really help. So let me know what you guys think down below. And if you guys have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. You guys know you want to. I would love to have you in the family. And I will continue my coverage of the R. Kelly trial tomorrow. And until next time, you guys, in a world where you can be anything, please, please be kind to each other. Bye, guys.